मैं श्री रूपे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा। So welcome to the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Southern Division components of Rasa, and we are supposed to start the discussion on Stahi Bhav. And we'll begin this verse by verse discussion on Stahi Bhav. But before we start that, I felt it is important for the devotees who have joined for this course, as well as those who have been attending, to just again rebrush the concepts of Vibhav, Anubhav, Satviki Bhav, Sanchari Bhav, and then go to Sahi Bhav. So in this context, we started with the discussion on the overview of Vibhav in the last class. Today, we are going to have the overview of Anubhav. Overview of Anubhav. Now, let me again go back to the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Southern Division. The Southern Division has this Vibhav, Anubhav, Satvika Bhav, Vibhichari Bhav, and Stahi Bhav. And Vibhav means the cause of rasa. What are the components? Bhakti rasa has to have these components for rasa. So these are the 5 components. And then we went into the definition of alamban, uddipan, vishay, ashray. Krishna is the vishay, the 64 qualities, anyarup, swarup, prakat and avrit, if you remember all this in the last class discussion. So these are the qualities in the Vishay, and there are these 55 qualities, 50 qualities, and 55, then 60, and the 4 extraordinary qualities. Then Krishna, there is Purna in Dwarka, Purnatara in Mathura, Purnatama in Braja. And then there are these 4 aspects, Dhiro Data, Dhira Lalita, Dhira Prashanta, Dhirod Dhata, and his 8 auspicious qualities. Then we went into the devotee, who is the abode of love, who is the ashray, and how he can attain by sadhaka, practicing a sadhaka who can attain bhava was siddha. And siddha is attained prema. And this prema can be attained by sadhana or by mercy, and the prema is eternally there in the Nitya Siddhas. So we saw this. Now, in the components of rasa, we saw how different bhavas combine together to give rasa. And the most prominent bhav is called as the stahi bhav. So we saw this stahi bhav, the most prominent bhav. Without the stahi bhav, the other components don't combine and give rise to rasa. So stahi bhav has to be there. And we mentioned that when one attains the stage of bhava, his stahi bhav with Krishna is revealed. And he starts reciprocating rasa with Krishna because of the mixture, samagri of vibhav, anubhav, sanchari bhav, and satviki bhav. So we went into the definition of vibhav, what are the uddipans, and there are different types of rasas, worldly rasa, heavenly rasa, and spiritual rasa. And when we saw some examples also, what is, the sahi bhav for this child, attachment to sweet rasa, what is the vishay, what is the ashray, what are the uddipans in the vishay, and what is anubhav. It's a voluntary action. And then sanchari bhav, we saw this also with Mother Yashoda's example. And then we covered the definition of vibhav, alamban, uddipan, and uddipan, and the 64 qualities of Krishna. We just read them. Of course, in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there is each of these qualities, there is a definition given, and then there are scriptural references given to that. But we did not go into that because that is a detailed study, and one can go through these 25 lectures where all this discussion is there. So all these 64 qualities we have seen in the last class. And now we are going to go to Anubhav. We are going to discuss Anubhav. Again, Anubhav, we are going to discuss just the overview of, sorry, not Vibhav, it is Anubhav. Anubhav. So overview of Anubhav. So now we are going to begin the discussion on overview of Anubhav, which is quite brief. Okay. Now this is the complete table of contents of Anubhav. There is the definition of Anubhav, and some of the Anubhavas are seat, like singing, yawning, breathing heavily, disregard, trolling, smiling. Some are called as Shepana, dancing, rolling on the ground, shouting, stretching the body, bellowing, laughing loudly, whirling about, hiccups. So all this is not illustrated in the right order. Okay, now before we go into Anubhav as explained in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, we will first see what Bhaktivinoda Thakur has to say in Jaiva Dharma. And please hear this very attentively. In chapter 27 of the Jaiva Dharma, when there is further consideration of Rasa Tattva, Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives this conversation happening between two disciples and the spiritual master. Okay. So let's hear this and then I will take up questions. Okay. The next day, the two sadhakas, after having attended the noon arti and honoring the Mahaprasad of the Jagannath temple, arrived at the Radhaka temple thirsty for the knowledge of rasa. So these two sadhakas, they are in Jagannath Puri and they are conversing with Gopal Guru Goswami. He is one of the acharyas in the Guru Shish Parampara who was revealed the science of rasa through Vakreshwar Pandit, and Vakreshwar Pandit got this knowledge from Sarup Damodar, and Sarup Damodar is the secretary of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is a novel where Bhaktivinoda Thakur is explaining how these two sadhakas, after they had understood Vibhav, next day they were very eager to understand Anubhav. Anubhav. Now, I hope devotees who are attending now have some idea of what is Anubhav. It is a voluntary action resulting from the love which is there in the heart, it manifests in the voluntary action, like we discussed upon Mother Yashoda opening her arms to embrace Krishna. Vijay Kumar and Vrajnath, these are the two sadhakas, were well versed in the scriptures, sincere Vaishnavas and residents of the holy dham of Navdeep. So the inhabitants of Radhakan temple ashram held them in high esteem and received them very respectfully whenever they visited. Shri Gopal Guru Goswami had finished prasadam and was ready for his meeting with Vijay Kumar and Vajranath. He presented a marvelous appearance, attired in a clean, fresh robes of a renunciate, with glowing Urva Pundra Tilak applied on his prominent forehead and Harinam written with tilak all over his body conspicuously. So this is, um, you know, the description of the Guru, how he was looking. Okay. 4 strands of thick, dark tulsi neck beads were coiled around his neck. His right hand was inside a little bead belt holding his chanting beads, and his eyes were half closed in deep meditation whilst relishing Krishna. So he was absorbed in Krishna. From time to time, purely teardrops would stream down from his eyes, moistening his chest. At intervals, he would cry out the anguish of separation, O Gauranga, O Nityananda. Then his ample, softly glowing darkish frame would become quiet again. He sat on a straw mat, his wooden clogs lay at the distance, and his water pot stood within his reach. His disciple Dhyan Chandra sat nearby, writing down the procedures of deity worship as given by his guru. So, Gopal Guru's disciple was Dhyan Chandra Goswami, who actually wrote a book called as the Archana Paddhati in the Ragamarg. Hmm. We will not go into the detailed discussion. So he was writing this book, Dhyan Chandra Goswami. Okay. When Vijay Kumar and Varjanath entered the room, they offered prostrated obeisances in front of Srila Goswami, who affectionately hugged them and made them sit down comfortably. As Srila Goswami began to listen attentively to his words, the subject of discussion being Rasa Tattva. Yesterday, we spoke about Vibhav. Now, we spoke about Vibhav last week, remember. Today, we will cover the other 3 Samagri Bhavs, Anubhav, subsequent ecstasy, Satviki Bhav, constitutional ecstasy, and Vabhichari Bhav, aggressive ecstasy. Now, please remember, Prabhupada also, these are the English equivalents he uses in his Nectar of Devotion summary study. Subsequent ecstasy. Subsequent means that which follows Vibhav. Anu means to follow, you know, Anubhav. So that's why subsequent to Vibhav is Anubhav. And Satviki Bhav is what is called as constitutional ecstasy. Constitutional means the soul which is in Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma, from the soul, the ecstasy manifests, you know, and this manifests through the pranas and the body, and there are, hair standing on end, tears coming from the eyes. So that's why they are called as constitutional ecstasy. And Vabhichari Bhav is aggressive ecstasy, aggressive. And we mentioned how, like the waves, the tsunami waves rise very high suddenly and then they fall down and they embellish the Stahi Bhav. So that's why they are called as aggressive ecstasy. Okay. We have already defined Vibhav as the root cause which ignites Rati. There has to be Vibhav, the subject of love. Sorry, the object of love. Loving attachment for the beloved within the heart of the lover. So the beloved is Krishna, the lover is Yashoda. I'm just giving in Vatsalya as the example. Rati churns a bhava that is latent in the chitta, heart and consciousness of the sadhaka. The various emotions that manifest externally in response to this awakened bhava is called Anubhava. Please mark, this is the definition of Anubhava. This is the definition of Anubhava. This is the definition of Anubhava. This rati, because of the root cause vibhava, it is there in the heart, and there are various emotions that manifest externally. They manifest externally in response to the emotion of the love which is there in the heart. That is called as Anubhava. Please hear very carefully. Although the Anubhavas, when externally expressed, seem to have a similarity to Vikar, the physical transformations caused by loving ecstasy, in truth, they are internal emotions in response to the bhava within the heart of the sadhaka. Please try to understand this statement. Although the anubhavas, when externally expressed, seem to have a similarity to vikar, the physical transformations caused by loving ecstasy. So, what is the physical transformations caused by living electricity? What is this samagri called as anyone? There are the four samagris: vibhav, anubhav, tatviki bhav, and sanchari bhav. So, what is this called? What is the term used? These anubhavas are similar to physical transformations caused by loving ecstasy. What is this bhava called? What is the samagri called? Anyone? What is it called? Who will answer this? I know it is difficult for us because we are still not familiar with these terminologies and all. But still, let us see. Bir Krish Prabhuji. Oh, wait. Pardon? Yes, they are Satviki Bhavas. So please remember, Satviki Bhavas are the external transformations which happen. Vikar, there are physical transformations caused because of loving ecstasy. And Anubhavas are also external expressions. So those look, both look same, but there is difference. The Satviki Bhavas are in the Chitta. Chitta means the pure consciousness. And the transformations happen, but they are not under the control of the sadhaka. Whereas the Anubhavas are voluntary, expressions, voluntary actions of the internal emotions in response to the bhava in the heart of the sadhaka. Like Mother Yashoda voluntarily opens up her arms. That's a sign of love which she has in the heart. And this voluntary action is called as Anubhava. Whereas she doesn't say when she opens her arms, hair stand on end and the hair stand on end. No, that is involuntary. So that is the difference between Satviki Bhavs and Anubhavas. Nritya, dancing, Viluntata, rolling on the ground, Gita, singing, Kroshana, lamenting loudly, Tanumotana, stretching and yawning, Hunkara, making loud roaring sounds, Jimbrana, yawning, Dirghashwasha, releasing signs, Lokapekshita, being neglectful of people's reactions, Lala, Shrava, salvation, salivation, means saliva coming out. Attahasa, raucously laughing. Gruna, swooning. And hiccuping are anubhava, external symptoms indicating the presence of bhava. So there is the heart, there is love. And because of the love in the heart, you start dancing. The heart is dancing, the body also dance. People in the material world, the highest happiness actually is in dance. And people in the material go to disco club, they dance so that they want to feel happy in the heart. But real dance is the spiritual dance. There is love in the heart and the soul is dancing, and that's why the body dances. And that's why this is the highest expression of love. That's why Krishna performs the Ras Leela. So there is all these external, these are all externals, transformations in the body, and all these are anubhavas. Vajranath. How can these physical transformations enhance the taste for the rasa and sthahi bhav? Relishing rasa is actually an inner experience, whereas the Anubhava symptoms find expressions externally. How then may they be considered as samagri bhav, ingredients of rasa? This is a very, very deep question because the rasa is relished in the heart, right? In the heart. And anubhavas are expressions which are external. So how can be anubhavas be part of samagri bhava? That's the question. Okay. Gopal Guru Goswami. Son, you have studied rhetoric and as such your mind is incisive. Incisive means very deep and penetrating. I have never come across another person who has asked such probing questions. Though when I was studying the science of rasa from Srila Vakreshwar Pandit, I mentioned I had similar questions. My Gurudev very kindly dissipated my doubts, and this esoteric science of rasa tattva was revealed to me in this way. So Gopal Guru Goswami is going to answer what he heard from his Guru, Srila Vakreshwar Pandit. So this is how Guru Shish Parampara is. When the jiva's internal activities on the transcendental Shuddha Sattva plane stimulate and nourish bhava, a variety of Vaichitra, wonderful spiritual feelings are spontaneously manifested. This transcendental variety infuses the heart with ineffable bliss in many different ways. Bliss causes vikar, physical transformations, which are exhibited as ecstatic symptoms known as Udbhasvara. Now we'll come to what is Udbhasvara. Udbhasvara is actually Satviki Bhavs. When the heart is effervescent with emotion, the devotee is seen dancing. When his heart hums with joy, the devotee sings loud, and so on. These expressions of spiritual emotion further nourish rasa. So, the rasa which is felt in the heart by the anubhavas of dancing, they are further relishing the rasa inside. And that is why anubhava is a samagri bhav. The exhibition of these ecstatic symptoms is not the main cause of ecstatic emotion, which is actually vibhav, because vibhav is the that which stimulates the sahibhav. But anubhava is the follower and experienced as the supporter of vibhav. As the supporter of vibhav. It is the supporter, and that's why it is called as anubhav. So the rasa is relished when Mother Yashoda sees Krishna. He is the Vishaya and she is the Ashraya of love. Now, seeing that the Stahi Bhav of Vatsalya Ras she is relishing in the heart, and the external symptoms of the hands opening up to embrace, it is what? It is Anubhava. It supports the Vibhava. And that's why Anubhava is also a Samagri Bhav. When Anubhava is churned up in the heart by Vibhav, splendid symptoms are displayed in the body. And those symptoms we saw singing and all. Thus, when the heart is flushed with Vibhav and Stahibhav, a second function is initiated within the heart in the form of Anubhav, which then acts to further nourish the Vibhav. It further nourishes Vibhav. Therefore, Anubhav really is a positive and independent Samagri Bhav. It is not Vibhav. Anubhav is not Vibhav. Anubhav is not also Satviki Bhav. The ecstatic symptoms are divided into two divisions, Sita, cooling, and Shepana, propelling. Singing, yawning, and so on are called Sita. Dancing and bodily contortions are called Shepana, propelling. They propel the rasa which is there in the heart, it propels you to jump and dance. So that is why they are called as propelling. There are other Anubhav symptoms, but they are extremely rare. For instance, Utfullata, the entire body pulsating with excessive jubilation. And there are many who try to exhibit this. The whole body vibrating, like, you are in a vibrating machine, the whole body vibrates. So this is a highest level, and these are very rare. And what which is very rare is easily imitated. And cheating, this is a kind of cheating which happens in the material world. Many I try to exhibit this. So this is excessive jubilation. Rakta Udmama, exudation of blood. This is Mahaprabhu used to experience. And Astipi Sandhi Viyoga or Karshana, dislocation or compressing of the joints. Mahaprabhu's body would become like a tortoise. All the joints would go in. And he used to look like a one lump of flesh. That is the kind of ecstasy he was experiencing. And sometimes his body would become elongated and all the joints would be coming out from the body. So that is, in Vira and Sambhog, the extraordinary symptoms like Kurmakar, taking the form of a tortoise as the result of ecstatic emotion, that our most beloved Sri Nimai Chaitanya exhibited are neither possible nor applicable to sadhakas. It's only possible in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And who else it is possible? Possible in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and who else? Anyone? Who else it is possible for? It was only possible for Mahaprabhu. Who else? Veer Krishna. Who else? Anyone else would like to answer? Who else it is possible for?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, it is Radharani.
Radharani. Radharani and the Nitya Gopis also can manifest these Mahabhav. On account of the elevated plane of discussion, the two seekers of knowledge paused to wonder over what they had just heard. Their esoteric quest was satiated, at least for some time. Feeling gratitude for their benefactor, they spontaneously stretched forward and gathered the dust from the feet of Srila Gopal Guru Goswami, applying it reverentially to their foreheads. Okay, so that is the discussion what we had from Jaiva Dharma. Now, if you have any questions, let us take it up now. Any questions, any clarifications about Anubhava from the Jaiva Dharma? Any questions, any clarifications? Everyone is astounded hearing the description of Vibhava. Yes, Vinita Harjani Mataji. No, I'm not able to hear you.
Hello. Hare Krishna Bhadrana. Prabhuji, I had a question.
Second, but you have to speak a little loudly because audio is not clear.
Yeah. Okay. I had a question that Anubhavas are voluntary actions. Anubhavas are voluntary actions.
No, still it is not clear. You have to be close to the mic, I feel.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Can you hear me now?
It's
Can
very
you hear me
feeble.
now?
Very, very feeble.
Yeah. I had a question that voluntary actions come in Anubhav. Voluntary actions come in Anubhav.
Can you do one thing? Can you just type your question because even the voice is breaking. There is some
Okay.
disturbance. You can
I'll do
type
it.
it and I will take it up before we finish the discussion. Okay, now I guess you have little some idea of what is Anubhav. Just one thing you have to remember is Anubhav is a voluntary action because of the love which is there in the heart. It's a voluntary action. That's first thing. And how it is different from Satviki Bhav? Satviki Bhav are involuntary actions. Like we don't say here stand on end and here stand on end. No. It happens because of the deep emotions of the soul which come out in the subtle body through the pranas, and the pranas agitate the elements. the earth, water, fire, air, ether. And that's why the transformations happen in like tears coming from the eyes or hair standing or and all this. So this is, and how it is Anubhav is, separate Samagri Bhav. That was a little technical and difficult to understand, but if you don't understand, it's okay for now. Okay. That exactly was my question, to understand the difference. Okay. I have understood your question without being be asking it. Okay. Fine. So now let us go into now Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu to understand the definition of Anubhava. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Anubhavastu chittasta bhavanam avabodhaka te bahirvikarya praya prokta udbhasvarakyaya. Anubhavas refer to those things, anubhavastu, which express, please note this, avabodhaka. They are expressed. The bhava situated within the heart. Chittasta bhavana. They are predominantly, te praya, external transformations, bhayivikara, and are thus called udbhasvara. Prokta udbhasvara akya, shining in the body. So udbhasvara is another name for Anubhava. It's not Satviki Bhava, as I mentioned. It was wrong. Please forgive me for that. They are called as udbhasvara because they shine on the body. Note, according to dictionary, Anubhava is a sign or indication of a feeling, bhava, by look or gesture. So just you smile. Smile is you love someone, and when you love someone, you see the object of your love. Your heart has love for that person, and you smile seeing him. That shows that, it is an Anubhava. That smile itself is an Anubhava. I hope you're getting. Now he's mentioning, okay, Sadhu Sevan Prabhuji. One second, just a minute. Yes, Sadhu Sevan Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Babuji.
Yes.
Prabhu, in the very same example that you gave just now, if we have love for someone and then the smile comes, so
Mm.
if I have a choice of smiling and not smiling, then we can call it as Anubhav, but I don't want to smile. And then the smile is coming without my control. Can that be called Sthai Bhav, Prabhuji? Because involuntary.
No, see, Stahi Bhav is, please understand what is Stahi Bhav. Stahi Bhav means one is at the stage of Bhava and his rasa with Krishna, whether it is Vatsalya, Sakya, Dasya, or Madhurya, that is called as Stahi Bhav. The relationship between mother and child. It is of Vatsalya. That is what is Sahibhav. But what is Rasa? Rasa is when the Stahi Bhav along with the Samagri Bhavs combines and gives rise to Rasa. A kind of a mellow or a relish the mother experiences in her heart because of having Vatsalya Ras. Because Vatsalya Ras is Rasa, but it is because of the Stahi Bhav. That Vatsalya is a Stahi Bhav. It is a Stahi Bhav. And that combines with these, Vibhav, the object of love, the subject of love, and Anubhavas, and all together give rise to Rasa. So that is first thing you have to understand. Now, I love someone and seeing him, I smile. That is a voluntary action, please remember. It is a voluntary action. And that is why it is Anubhav, first thing. Now, I don't want to smile, but still I smile. That is also a voluntary action because, I fear that if I don't smile at my boss, he might, throw me out of the job. So it is one is done naturally and spontaneously of the natural affection you have. One is done under certain conditions, you know, under some repressed emotion, that if I don't smile, what will they think? And that's why I smile. So there is a use of intelligence there and there is a voluntary action there. I hope you're able to get this.
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
Understand it.
Yes.
Yes?
Prabhuji, one more question, Prabhu. Then one new
Can
word
you
has
speak
come.
a little loudly, please?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji. Is it better now, Prabhu? Hare Krishna.
Yes. Can you be a little close to the mic?
Yeah, Prabhuji. Okay. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Is it better
Yes.
now, Prabhu? Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So one new word had come, Prabhuji, that vikar, right? So vikar we had heard in the context of Ashta Sattvic vikar, like you explained for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yeah.
So they also come involuntarily. We have no control. And then,
They also know they only come involuntarily.
yes, okay. So that is, then Sthai Bhav and vikar both are involuntarily. What is the difference,
No,
Prabhu?
you're getting confused with terminologies. You'll have to study the entire
Yes.
Vibhav discussion, which is 25 classes.
Okay.
It's a subject which we need to study. You have to clearly understand what is Stahi Bhav. Stahi Bhav is it is a component of rasa. It is a component of rasa. And we have been explaining that halwa is a rasa. You relish halwa and you experience a kind of rasa in your heart, eating that halwa rasa. But if in that halwa, instead of, rava, there is some other thing, you know, you will not relish halwa rasa. There has to be that component, rava, or actually sugar. We gave the example. That is,
Yes.
there is no
Right.
sugar,
Yes.
there is no sweet rasa coming out of it, right? So there has to be the main component. So the stahi bhav has to be there. That means one should be in the transcendental platform where he's actually knows his stahi bhav with Krishna, whether it is Vatsalya, Sakya, Madhurya. And that stahi bhav, like parents know what is their relationship with their child.
Vatsal.
It's Vatsalya. So that is their stahi bhav. And seeing the child, the Vatsalya affection in the heart comes up. Every parent is experiencing this, right? Yes. So what stimulated that stahi bhav? The vibhav. So vibhav is one component of rasa, vibhav. But seeing the vibhav, your stahi bhav, rati, attraction for vatsalya ras got ignited, and you opened up your arms to embrace your child. So this emotion also is relishing your stahi bhav, is also relishing your stahi bhav, and that is anubhav. But that same child who is playing in the garden suddenly, dogs attacks it, So you have love for the child and you go running. That is also anubhav, towards the object of your love. But your hairs are standing on end. You do not, say that hairs stand on end. Because of that intense emotion which we have, there are transformations in the body that hairs stand on end. And tears start coming when you save the child, out of affection. Tears start coming. You do not say tears start coming from the eyes. No. So that is why they are called as sattviki bhavas. Whereas anubhavas are voluntary emotions. These are voluntary. Whereas sattviki bhavas are involuntary. They are not under your control. They directly manifest from the Shuddha Sattva platform. I hope you're a little able to get some understanding.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So let's now, after understanding the definition, let's go to the next verse. Bir Krishna Prabhuji. Yes. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
Prabhu, here is the external transformation are called. So this
No,
external,
audio. I don't know why everyone's audio is not working. You
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Now is it clear?
no, it's breaking. The voice is breaking.
Hari bol, Prabhu. Now it is clear. Hari bol.
You're on the mobile or on the laptop? First, tell me.
Mobile to mobile.
Ah, that is the problem. So you keep your mobile very close to your, mm, voice piece, that is the mouth, and then speak. Let us see.
Prabhu, I'm saying that in this translation, Bhakti translation,
Pardon?
this translation for external transformation, which are called udbhas.
Oh, can you
Udbhas.
type the question? Can you type the question? I will take it up. Can you just type it, please? Sorry. Oh, you are able to hear. That means there is some problem because since yesterday this is I'm facing that there is sound is not very, very clear for me. And I've been asking all the audience to, yeah, speaker sound is there. Okay, I'll have to maybe work on it. Let me see. Okay, let me try it out. You are able to hear clearly, Sadhu Sevan Prabhuji, very clearly? Oh, okay. That means there is some technical problem with the laptop of mine. I felt that. Okay. So kindly please type the question, Prabhuji, and I will take it up before we end the discussion today. So the external transformations known as Anubhava are actions. These are voluntary actions such as dancing, nrityam, rolling on the ground, singing, shouting, stretching the body, bellowing, yawning, breathing heavily, disregarding others, drooling. Now, what is drooling? I had forgotten about it. Drooling, drooling, drool. Uh, let saliva dribble from the mouth. So saliva coming out. So this is drooling. Okay. And then breathing heavily, disregarding others, laughing loudly, attahasa, whirling around, turning around, and hiccups. So these are the. And now in the next verse, okay. Bir Krishna was asking, does Udbhaswara refer to Satviki Bhav? No, I clarified that. Jaiva Dharma Bhaktivinoda Thakur says they are called as Udbhaswara and they are also Anubhavas only. So then in the next verse he says, Te Sita Shepanas Cheti Yatha Arthakya Dvidotita. Sita Swer Geeta Jimbadya Nrityada Shepana Bida. Anubhavas are of two types with suitable names. They have two types. Te Sita, meaning cool, that lack the bodily movement. And Shepanasya, meaning throwing about, involving distinct bodily movements. Like in dancing, you're throwing yourself. So please note down, devotees, that, although we might not be aware, when in the kirtan, we are jumping and dancing, all these are anubhavas. And that's why devotees are happy doing the kirtan. Although a different relish of rasa is there when one is on the transcendental platform. But even in sadhaka stage, we are relishing this in dancing. Now, Sita includes singing, yawning, breathing heavily, disregarding others, drooling, and smiling. Shepana includes dancing because there is throwing of the body in distinct bodily movements, rolling on the ground, shouting, stretching the body, bellowing, loudly laughing, whirling around, and having hiccups. These are all distinct bodily movements. So that's the two divisions, Sita and Shepana. So here I have summarized everything. Shepana, throwing, actions that involve hasty movements, dancing, rolling, loudly crying, roaring, loud laughter, staggering about, fit of hiccups. And Sita is singing, yawning, breathing heavily, disregard for public image, and salivating. These are sweet. Actions that display apathy or contentedness. There is not much bodily movements. So just little technical difference between the two. Okay. Now, in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, of course, which we have discussed verse by verse in the Anubhava, Anubhava is not a big chapter. Anubhava has only, I think, around 21 verses. And Rup Goswami, for each of these Nritya, he gives a scriptural reference. For Nritya, Gita, everything he gives a scriptural reference. So I will just take you to some scriptural reference for each of them. Okay, let's go to now. Nrityam. Tatra Nityam Yata. Murli Kurali Sudha Kiram. Hari Bhaktendro Avaksha Kampita. Ganena Sange Sa Ganesha Dindimba. Dhvanibis Tandava Ashrita Hara. Seeing the moon-like face of Hari, Hari Vakta Endum Aveksha, radiating sweetness as he practiced his flute playing. Murli Kurali Sudha Kiram. Lord Shiva, Hara, began to tremble, Kampita, and began to dance Tandavam in the sky, Gagane, along with Ganesh, Sir Ganesha, to the rhythm of his drum. Dindima Dhvanibis. So this is the effect of Krishna playing his Murli. So the Lord's associates, the demigods, have love for the Lord. And, this vibhava in the form of uddipan, the flute playing, is causing these anubhavas in the form of kampan, tandava, all this. Okay. So this is Nritya example. And then there are, all these examples are given, which is quite, clear. Heavy breathing is a Shepana example. When the monsoon arrived with colorful clothing, upasthite chitra patambudagame, the Chataka bird, namely Lalita Akya Chataki, became increasingly thirsty. Vivruddha Trisna, seeing Aveksha, the form of that black cloud called Krishna, Krishna Ambudakaram, driven away, Apavahitam, by the strong breathing Nishvasa of the monsoon wind mixed with rain. Janjaha Maruta, she became disturbed. Chu Chak Shubhe. So this is written in a very poetic form, where Lalita is compared to the Chataka bird and Krishna is compared to the black cloud, and the strong breathing is the monsoon wind mixed with rain. She became disturbed. So let's see the commentary. Ambudagame refers to the monsoon rains. In the hot season, there will be strong winds and gales. In the monsoon season, there will be rain mixed with wind. And during the spring there will be fragrant breeze. So this is how, in the hot season, there are strong winds, heat waves. And in the monsoon, the wind is mixed with, water particles. In the spring, the wind is having freedom. Because of the strength of her breathing and because of the mixture with tears, wind and rain, Krishna disappeared from her height because of the disturbance to his cloth. Prabhupada. As far as breathing heavily is concerned, it is stated Lalita, one of the gopis, is just like a Chataka bird who only takes water falling directly from the rain cloud and not from any other source. So her love is for the only object, Krishna. In this statement, Krishna is compared to dark cloud and Lalita is compared to Chataka bird seeking only Krishna's company. So you can see how poetic it is. The metaphor continues to say, as a heavy wind sometimes disperses a mighty cloud, so the heavy breath from Lalita's nostrils caused her to miss Krishna, who had disappeared by the time she recovered herself. So just like a heavy wind suddenly takes away the cloud, so her heavy breathing suddenly, she missed Krishna. And as she recovered. So that's how Lokana Prekshita Yatashi Dashami. Like that, all these examples are for each they are given, which is in around 20 verses. So I'm not going to the verse by verse discussion. You can hear the verse by verse classes on Anubhav, and then that will be clear. The last verse says what? Vapur utfullatakar udgamaja syupare piye ativa viralatvat naiv te naivatra parikirtita. Other symptoms such as suyapare, PA, extreme goosebumps, vapur utfalata, and sweating blood, rakta udgama adaya, are not described here. Naiva atra parikirtita, since they are very rare. Ativa virlapatte. Mahaprabhu exhibited all this. So that's how Rupa Goswami ends this discussion on Anubhav in 21 verses. This is one of the shortest chapters in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So I've just briefly covered, and this is the same thing Jiva Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in the Jaiva Dharma also. So we will stop here, and again, if you have any questions, you're free to type, I can say now, because I'll have to check why my system audio is not functioning. Maybe it requires a software upgrade. Okay, any questions you have regarding Anubhava? Any questions, any clarifications? About Anubhava? Okay, so then we will stop here, and we will continue this discussion on the overview of Satviki Bhav. That's also quite brief. Satvik Bhav, and then we'll have the overview of Vebhichari Bhav. And after we complete the discussion of Vebhichari Bhav, then we will start verse by verse discussion on the Stahi Bhav. And before we start the verse by verse discussion on Stahi Bhav, I will again, from other works, try to bring out this understanding of what exactly is Stahi Bhav, and then we will go further. This understanding of the science of rasa is very important in spiritual life, especially for Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And this is every day what we are going through and experiencing, but we don't understand it. And only by studying Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, we will understand and then better relish it and discriminate between, the real rasa and the false rasas of this world. Okay, so thank you very, very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai. Shri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu ki jai. Hare Krishna.